Thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you've been watching through the week of all the different days that we've been doing different subjects on, all to do with mortgages. Very exciting time at the moment because the mortgage rate is extremely low. We actually got a mortgage for someone this week at 0.49%. Yep. So that's amazing. And so it does make it so that purchasing a property right now is fantastic. And of course, we've got people here as well that can help you find the property to buy with this mortgage. So we've got with us today, I'm Angela, I'm the CEO, if you haven't met me before. And we've also got Jose. And Jose is our mortgage consultant. And Cristina.
Hi.
Cristina is also an expert on mortgages and is the director. So today is about questions and we will answer it as best as we can. If there's anything that we can't answer, we'll come back to you. And if there's anything that you've got that's actually personal to you that you would rather do on a one-to-one, the details will be on here and you can contact us and do that at any time. Okay, so we're going to start. So someone's asking, in one of our other Zoom sessions, it was mentioned that one of the younger family members, maybe the son, could apply for a mortgage in order to qualify for a longer mortgage loan, 30 plus years instead of say 15 to 20. And what they're asking is, one, what would be the process if that's the case, and how would the title be held? And two, would your income be considered for the mortgage or only your son's income?
I'll take that one. So basically what we'll do is the process is exactly the same. We'll send you the forms, you fill it in, you send it back to us. They'll look at your son's income. They'll look at you as with income as a guarantor, okay? And then we can add your name onto the deeds at a later stage once everything is signed and all the process has been completed. The other question was,
so son's income would be taken into consideration.
Would be taken into consideration along with yours, yes.
Okay. So we will be getting a mortgage for Donna Maria, congratulations, too, and that is to be completed in 2023. How soon should I apply for the mortgage?
You do the mortgage. Sorry, Cristina.
No, go on.
So you do the mortgage. We apply the mortgage. We start to apply application of the mortgage about 3 months before. Okay, there's no need for us to start applying now, because your situation might change from now until it's until completion. So if you're saying July 23, so maybe in March, April, we can start the process in 23.
And also because once the mortgage is approved, it's only valid for 2 months.
Exactly, yeah.
But we also always do advise to send the inquiry form so we can pre-approve and send you a pre-approval.
So the client could have a pre-approval now, and as long as nothing changes in that time, then they would get the mortgage approved when they apply for it again.
Obviously, in a couple of years, the situation may change. If that is the case, then we also always do advise to contact us maybe 5 to 6 months before, because then we've got time before we actually apply to the bank. We've got 3 months to have a look and to maybe change a couple of things around to be able to get the approval.
Okay.
But that's only if the financial situation changes.
So if this person, if they pre-qualify, but they retire before closing, how does that affect the financing? I will not have a fixed pension, but will be able to retire based on savings and assets.
It depends. How the bank do the calculations in Portugal is any expenses that you've got. So anything that's on your credit report or car loans, personal loans, existing mortgages, they take the loans, including the finance in Portugal, cannot exceed 35% of your income.
Okay. Are the interest rates higher for Northern American citizens that will not be living in the property or they'll be using it for an investment? And what are the interest rates to be expected? But they don't change, do they? It's the same for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, we don't expect an increase for a while, and interest rate is for everybody. It's we paint with the same brush.
Okay. It's a private mortgage funding with up to 20 to 30-year terms available at reasonable rates for an individual or a couple, with the oldest applicant age being 70. So there is a bit more to that question. I'll carry on. So banks are banks age discriminatory and being just plain hard to get? Is it hard to get a loan, Castle or quite confusing, this one for me, I'm afraid.
I can answer that, Angela.
Okay.
We do have banks that finance up to the age of 80 years old, but the maximum would have to be from 78 years old. So if you are 70, you could take a finance for 10 years. The other banks, it's up to the age of 75. With a 10-year term, the monthly, obviously, it also depends on the purchase price and the deposits amount that's going to be put down. But with over 10 years, the monthly payment can be a lot higher. In instances like that, we do advise to put it in somebody else's name, like a child or a sibling, and then after the deed is done, we can add your name on, or you can be a guarantor, which your income will also come into account.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is there interest only mortgages?
The banks don't, in Portugal, they don't really like interest only mortgages, but we can try. We can try. There's one or two banks that have said it's obviously not guaranteed, but we can try and we can have a look at it.
They're asking because they're saying if they're retired and 70 plus, can they get an interest only mortgage with 50% deposit? Again, it would depend on the bank.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
Okay. I bought a pre-construction and my apartment should be completed fourth quarter 2023. My financial situation may be completely different than it is now, and I want to be sure that I will qualify. So this is very much what we've just gone over, that, you know, obviously situations do change, but you can more often than not get round certain things. Yeah. So someone's wondering what the prepayment privileges are on a typical mortgage.
The prepayment fee, I take it.
Prepayment privileges on a typical mortgage.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
No, maybe you contact us directly and we'll be able to understand that, or redo the message, so because we're not quite sure. I'm 55 and my husband is 60. I've seen that in Portugal it's a variable rate, and also something about the Euribor. I'm in North America. Can someone explain what that means?
Okay, so at the moment the Euribor is at a negative rate. So what the banks do is that they take the Euribor, they add their percentage on, and that's where we get the 0.8 average, 0.8, 0.9%. If the Euribor changes, obviously the interest rate will change as well.
But the Euribor, it also depends on with which bank. Some banks are 6 months Euribor, some banks are 12 months.
12 months.
So it would always be for the 12 months. And then just before, I don't think it's going to go any lower. So hopefully, but I don't think it will get any lower as it is now. But if it is going to go up, then the bank will always advise you that it is going to go up a little bit. And the good thing also about, while we're on the topic, the good thing about variable rates is so it's a variable rate. If you do want to fix it at any point, you can change it. So it's on a variable at any point in time. If you want to change it to a fixed, you can fix it. Whereas if we start off with the fixed rate, it's fixed for the term and it's fixed. We can't change it to a variable.
And Christina, Jeff and Katrina in England are saying hi to you.
Hello.
It's great to see you. Is it normal to do a mortgage in a personal name or a corporation name, and what are pros and cons of each?
So go on, Jeff.
Okay, so if to do it in a company name, it's a little bit trickier. So it has to be the company has to be registered and active in Portugal for 3 years minimum.
Okay. So when getting a mortgage, how long does the process take normally, from starting to take out the mortgage to completion?
Christina, it looked like you wanted to talk, but I'm going to
Go on.
I'm going to jump in here. So it shouldn't take you more than 2 months, 2 to 3 months from start to completion.
That also includes getting the approval from the bank. The reason why Jose says 2 to 3 months is because we get the approval from the bank. Then the next step is opening up your bank account, which the bank do for you, and you do not need to be present in Portugal. So alongside your lawyer and the bank, they will open up the account for you. Once the account is open, you transfer the valuation fee, which is €239.20, and the bank contracts an independent evaluator to evaluate the property. That's the reason why it's about 2 months. Once we get that report, the bank then issue the final offer letter. From there, there's a 7-day reflection period, and then we book the deed.
Can we talk about redemption penalties, please?
So on a variable rate, by law in Portugal with all the banks, it's the penalty fee is 0.5% on the amount that you pay off. So for every 10,000 euros you pay off, the bank will charge you 50 euros. If it's on a variable rate, it's 2%. So we also do advise if you do prefer a fixed rate, but you win the Euro Millions or something, or you're getting a lump sum in a couple of years, you could fix it for 2 years, and then imagine in 2 years you're going to get a lump sum. Fix it for 2 years if that's what you prefer, and only then when it goes to variable, then pay it off early, because from 0.5% to 2%, it's depending on the amount you pay off. It could be, it's a big difference.
Okay. Hello, my wife and I are Canadians with Portuguese roots. We are investors looking to do our first international income property investment in Portugal. What are the qualifications for Canadians and down payment required?
So once again, we look at everybody the same. So it's 80%, up to 80% mortgage, minimum 20% down payment. So whether you're Canadian or you're Portuguese, it's the same thing.
Yeah, the same for everybody, isn't it? I don't change it. How is the income of a self-employed person assessed?
I think it's the same. It's the same as we've already spoken. So when you apply for mortgage, the banks look at no more than 35% of your income to get a mortgage.
And also, if you're self-employed and you do take a minimum wage, they will look at dividends as well.
Okay, I'm retired. Is there any age restriction to getting a mortgage?
No, up to the age of 80, but from the age of 78. So if you're 79, unfortunately, you can't take a mortgage for the 1 year, but then we will help you with that and give you some ideas, about putting it in a child's name or a sibling's name and adding yourself on after. And
someone's asking that if we can tell them how much they qualify for if they send in the paperwork, which obviously we can do if they need to fill in a mortgage pack, and you'll be able to do that, won't you?
Yeah.
I have an apartment in the Algarve valued by Bruno at 250,000 last October. It has no debt. Can I remortgage on this property to raise some funds? Also, what loan to value and interest rate would apply at the moment?
So you can do equity release. Equity release, it's exactly the same process. We still need all the documentation, bank statements, pay slips, the property documents as well. We send it off to the bank. You can do equity release up to it. They also send out an evaluator, so it depends on how much you're asking for and how much the property is worth. And the interest rates on equity release is around 1.92%.
Okay. I am retired with 500k cash, but would like to take out a mortgage instead of using all the cash. I have a pension of 1,200 a month. How many times your salary would the bank lend, and what documents are required?
It's the same. It's the same thing. So we've covered that question. So 35% of your income. Same documentation is required.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does the cash come into it? Would the bank say if you're taking a mortgage and you've got cash in the bank, would they look at that as well as earnings?
We can look at that. There is it's called the guarantee mortgage, but that amount would have to stay in the bank account while they finance that amount. But if you do have a pension that's coming in, obviously it also depends on how much you want to put down. I mean, the bank will finance up to the finance 80% if you wanted to put down more cash, or the 80% it's to the bank, it's the same. It's the same. If you've got a pension, the pension, like Jose said, and we've covered any expenses that you've got, including the finance in Portugal, cannot exceed 35% of your income. If that's not the case, then we can look at the guarantee mortgage.
And can do fixed mortgages for 5 years. Can do for more.
Yeah,
You can do for more. So
5, 10, sorry, Jose, 5, 10, or for the term. The longer the term is, the higher the interest rate is. So 5 years at the moment is around 1.3%, 1.4%.
Okay. I would like to know, can you really get 80% if you're based in the UK?
You can really get 80%.
Also, do you look at retained profit or only income on tax return? Which credit file do banks use in the UK?
So the credit file is Experian credit reports. That they do ask you for your tax returns. If you've got any, they will only take income into consideration that's on your tax returns. Don't know if that answers the question.
I understand life insurance is required for a mortgage from Portugal banks, and that life insurance must be purchased from the bank that you are leasing from. Are you locked into life insurance from the bank you are financing from, or can you shop around for a better life insurance policy?
you're not obliged to take a life insurance through the bank. You can shop around, and that's what we do. We help out as well with life insurance. So we've got a couple of people that will give you rates, and you can compare. You can see which one's more viable.
You have to have one, but it's not. But you can choose which one you have.
Exactly.
If you've already got, sorry, Angela, if you've already got life insurance in the UK or the States, the banks have protocols with all the insurance companies around the world. As long as that insurance company is part of the bank, they do have a protocol with them. We can try and apply with your existing life insurance, as long as that they will change they will add the bank as a beneficiary for the term and the finance amount. If they don't accept, they don't work with that insurance company, then we apply to the bank. And like Jose said, we've got protocols with a lot of insurance companies, and we'll help you with that as well. Okay. And can I just add, if you do have life insurance in Portugal, it's mandatory to get the 80% finance with one of the banks that we work with. It's mandatory. However, after the deed is done, you can cancel it at any point. The only thing that is the interest rate by 0.25%.
Okay. What is the loan to value? I think we've mentioned that, but if anybody wants to cover that again.
The banks, most of the banks finance 70%, and then we've got 1 or 2 banks that finance 80%.
Could you clarify the 35% debt to equity number? Is this all worldwide debt?
Yes, it's the same anywhere in the world. So anything that's on your credit reports, personal loans, car loans, business loans, mortgages, credit cards, any loans or credits that you've got, including the finance in Portugal, cannot exceed 35% of your income. But that's also why we're here. We can send you out an inquiry form. You can fill it in. And we will work it out for you. We'll send you a pre-approval. If it is a bit touch and go and it's a little bit difficult to get the 80%, we will help you by giving you ideas. Or for example, if you've got a car finance that you owe 5,000 euros on or dollars or whatever, you could pay that off, get the finance in Portugal, and then go back and get that loan again, if that's the reason why it's stopping you from getting 80% in Portugal. So we do help you, and we do try and find a way, obviously, to get you the best, the maximum amount that you're looking for and the best interest rate, of course.
Okay. Curious about qualifying for mortgage in Portugal. Is there a debt ratio that is used to determine if you qualify? Reason I'm asking is our home in Canada is paid off, but borrowing against our home to pay for down payment for property purchased in Santa Maria too. Not too worried about getting approved in our current situation, but also looking at buying another pre-construction in Mexico, which would be a cash detail. Worried I might appear that I have a lot of debt.
Again, I think it's a case by case, but if you can contact either myself or Jose privately, and then we can look at it. I think from there, the client is saying they don't have a deposit. Sorry, Angela.
They're paying for, yes, the deposit they've financed out of the property in Canada to pay for the deposit kind for I think from Santa Maria. So now they're wondering whether that will go as a debt towards them because they're paying that. I think it's probably one that we need to probably get in touch so can have a real look at the intricate detail and be able to help on that one. What is the usual deposit required? That's like we say, it's 20%, 30%, depending on the mortgage. The repayment penalties, if you can just recover 0.5%.
So on a variable rate, it's 0.5% on the amount you pay off. Example, for every 10,000 you pay off early on the mortgage, the bank will charge you 50 euros. If it's on a fixed rate, the fee is 2%.
Is there a fee if they pay the mortgage off before the end of time? That's what we've just gone through, yeah. And you can actually pay as much as you want off your mortgage, can't you?
Yes.
If I could go tomorrow and pay 1,000 off. I could pay 100 off. I can pay 100, whatever you want at that time. You
can pay it all off completely. Yeah. They'll just charge you the 0.5% on the whole amount that you owe.
Yep, so we're working on citizenship. Would it be better to wait for that to apply for a mortgage with citizenship, or does that not really matter in qualifying for specific mortgages? Currently, we are in the US, and of course, there is never a guarantee of citizenship in Portugal. Doesn't make no difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference.
Hello, I live in Canada, 65 years old. Can I get a mortgage in Portugal? For 15 years.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, just get in touch, we'll get you on. These guys are amazing. I'm 77, so will it be difficult for me to obtain a mortgage? It could be a little bit more not difficult, but it's the rates, isn't it? I'll let you take over.
And your monthly payments are going to be quite high. So, like Cristina mentioned, maybe put it on in a child's name or a sibling, and then at a later stage you can add your name to the deed.
So what is do you know what the interest rate is at the moment for a 10 years fixed mortgage?
For 10 years, it's around, I'd say 2.3%.
Okay.
But also what we do with that is, like we've mentioned, we work with all the banks. So once we get your application, we send it to all the banks. So the banks, obviously, they want your business. So that's where myself and Jose come in, and we sort of put them up against each other and say, that one's offering that. So if you want it, you have to drop. And, we'll always try and get it as low as possible.
Okay. What are the first steps to apply for a mortgage? Do you have a list of items needed?
Well, you obviously contact us, and we'll send you the application form, the pre-approval. You fill it in, you send it back to us, and we'll pass it on to the banks, and like Cristina says, play them up against each other and get you the best rate.
How long will they lock a rate in? So they will leave, like we said, it will actually be locked in for the full term. If that's what you wish, it just affects the interest rate.
When we send the application, so we've received the bank application forms and all the documentation. If we don't say to the bank then that you want a fixed rate, they'll automatically do it at a variable. If you tell us you want it at 2, 5, 10 or the term, then obviously we inform the bank and they'll send the approval back with the
specified rate. Yeah.
Okay. Someone's asking if the wife is EU citizen, does it affect the qualifying of the mortgage or any benefits rate? It's exactly the same as in it, wherever you are in the world, whatever, even for the Portuguese, it's the same as what it is for anybody else.
Yeah. There are some banks, in saying that, Angela, there are some banks that being a Portuguese citizen will finance 90%. However, it is a little bit tricky because once we do the evaluation, the evaluation will have to come in a lot higher than the purchase price. If that is the case, if you find a bargain property and for example, it's 300,000 and the evaluation comes in at 400,000, then you'll be able to get 90% as a citizen, but it depends.
But that's extremely difficult, yeah, and tricky.
Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand this one. So I'm going to just read it as it says it. Registered in Portugal for 3 years minimum. Does that mean 3 years before buying property or 3 years after forming corp?
I think that's with companies. So your company has to be registered and practiced for 3 years before you can apply for mortgage under the company name.
So the bank will ask for 3 years tax returns.
Yeah.
How long do mortgage offers last for when you get approval? And if you sell the property prior to the end of schedule, what kind of taxes do you have to pay, or is there a penalty from banks?
The approval is valid for 2 months from the date the bank sent us the approval. It's valid for 2 months. If you haven't, I'm not quite sure I understand that question, Ange, because if it's approved first before we've signed the deed, and then you sell it on, you don't pay any penalty fee because we haven't done the deed and the bank hasn't released the funds.
Mm-hmm. So can a foreign corporation get a mortgage? You can't you? Yeah.
You can in your personal name, but backed up with the company documents.
Will the bank allow to roll the closing costs onto the mortgage loan?
No, so the bank will only finance the
property.
The structure.
Are there prepayment penalties and how are they determined? So that's the 0.5% on a variable.
Variable and 2% on a fixed.
Can you close the deal in cash, example for a repossession deal where speed is essential, and then mortgage later when you own to release some of the cash?
That depends. Normally it can be a lot quicker. We do have a bank that can have an approval within 2 days. That bank only finances 70%. So it also depends on how quick we get the documentation. I know Jose is really quick at that. As soon as he receives the documentation, he makes sure that he's got everything. He does his checklist, sends it off to the bank. The bank will come back in 2 days with an approval. And then it's as quickly as also you send the evaluation fee, because the next step would be opening up the bank account, which they'll do for you, transferring the evaluation fee, and then we book the deed. As soon as we get that result, there is only the 7-day reflection period from when the bank issue the final offer letter.
So if they was wanting to do a quick deal, and they would be able to do promissory anyway with a pre-approval that would secure the deal, and then the mortgage would, so they wouldn't lose the deal through it.
No.
I'm a freelancer and I tried to get a mortgage. I've been paying minimum salary, but the bank did not consider my dividends.
I think if you can contact us privately, and we'll try and help you. We'll have a look at exactly, what your income is and what your expenses are, and if there's anything that we can move around for you to be able to get the mortgage.
Somebody's saying, was it 20% deposit? It's either 20% or 30%, depending on the amount of mortgage you get. Do mortgage inquiries affect your US credit score?
No, not at all. Not the pre-approval and not the actual approval. It doesn't affect your credit score. The only thing is if you've taken out a mortgage in Portugal, so you've got your bank account. if you do try and get finance in the US, for example, they may see that you do a lot of transfers to your bank accounts in Portugal. So obviously, if that is the case, then we can also try and help you work around that. It's the only trace there would be is from bank statements, but it doesn't affect your credit score.
Okay. What earnings multiples do the banks use?
Again, it's at 35%. Any credits that you've got, including the finance in Portugal, can't exceed 35% of your income.
Okay. I've owned a property in Qashqai for 6 years and it's valued at 1.3 million euros. I paid cash for it. I'm 66 next birthday and retired. Can I get a mortgage of 200,000 euros respectively?
Yeah, we can do equity release. It's the same process, same documentation, just added on to your property documents. The bank do, however, ask what you want it for, what you need it for. But other than that, it's equity release and it's the same process.
Okay. If I'm 68-year-old and 68-year-old and 64-year married couple wants to purchase a property, what is the maximum amortization they can take?
Up to the age of 80 years old.
So it would be taken on the eldest, wouldn't
So
it?
we'll take on the eldest, so would be the 14 years. Did you say 66, 64?
68 and 64, so
So it'd be 12.
68.
It'll be 12, yeah.
How much does it cost to buy a property over the purchase price, including cost of getting loan? How much do you understand that? How much does it cost to buy a property over the purchase price, including cost of getting loan?
Would that not be your closing cost, Angela, which is anything between 6 and 8%?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. So if you buy a property, you pay between 6 and 8% depending on the price of the property, because it's a sliding scale. It's usually around 6%. It very rarely goes over 8%, but it would obviously if you're spending a lot of money, and that covers all your costs, your tax, your legal fees, absolutely everything.
And then you've also got, maybe that was also directed at mortgage, you've also got your mortgage fees, which is nothing major, but the bank fee is 319 euros, the evaluation is 239.20, the preparation for deed is 129, and then you've got stamp duty of 0.6% on the finance amount.
Okay. What is the going fixed rate for an apartment or freestanding house that would be a rental during the high season and used by myself for 90 days, year on off season? Do you have rehab loans?
Rehab loans. Could that be construction or maybe construction loan?
I think it might be to do with rental. I'm not quite sure. If you can get in touch with us with that one, we'll be able to answer that personally for you. What are the requirements for obtaining a real estate option golden visa, and are those requirements changing soon?
I'll let
you go ahead, Joe.
The golden visa period has been extended to the end of the year. All right. So currently in Portugal, you need 500,000 cash to apply for a golden visa. Luckily for us here in the Algarve, we'll get away with a 400,000 because we are just special like that. No, because we are considered a low density area, so you get away with 400,000 here in the Algarve. You can apply for golden visa, spend the 400,000 cash, and anything over, if you purchase a property, anything over the 400, you can mortgage on that.
Okay. When you say 35% of your salary, does that mean 30% of your annual salary? For example, if your salary is 100,000 per annum, are you saying they will only lend 35,000? No, that's the payment, is it?
Yeah.
The payment,
so
yeah.
if you earn 100,000, any loans, it also depends on what credits you've got. So all you do is you add all your credits together, you'll have to get in touch with us to get the amount of the finance in Portugal. And how we work it out is, imagine you've got 4 credits. We add those together, including the finance in Portugal, divided by your income. That figure that you get cannot exceed 35%.
What documents are required for proof of income for a self-employed person?
Well, basically your bank statements and your tax returns. If your tax returns are up to date in your bank statements, you should be A for away.
And the company tax returns.
The company.
Your personal and your company.
What is the current interest rate on a 30-year fixed loan at 80% loan to value? Do we know
To be
that?
honest with you, I can't answer that right now, but I can find out. If you please get in touch, I can find out, because it's 30 years, we don't really do it often, but I'll definitely find out for you. It shouldn't be too high.
Okay, we're back to the 35% of your income has been routinely mentioned today. Can you please explain and define what this means? So you've just gone through that. Does this imply that your mortgage yearly payments must be no more than 35% of your income?
Yeah.
My wife is still working, I am retired. Does the lender consider my retirement income if I am 75 at the time she takes out the loan on the property?
Again, it just depends. At 75, you'll have the 5-year term because it's up to the age of 80, or we can just look at your wife's income. As she's employed, we can do it just in your wife's name with your wife's income and your wife's age up to the age of 80 years old, and then we can add you on after. Or if you want to both be on the deed, that's also fine, but it will be the 5-year term.
With a couple, do both people on the loan need their own life insurance, or do we just need a life insurance for one person?
No, it will just be for one, as long as it covers the term and the finance amount. It can just be for the one person, the eldest candidate.
Is it better to buy joint with a spouse or individually for tax efficiency?
No, it's the same. It just depends on the income, and expenses, and if you both want to be on the deed or not.
They're asking what are the taxes liabilities on death for property in Portugal. So that again, we really need to, we'll be able to put you in touch with a tax person. Basically, there isn't any inheritance tax if it's direct family, but there is a lot more to it than that. So we will be able to put you in touch with either a lawyer, Ricardo can answer those questions, or we'll get you in touch with a tax person. But so please do get in touch. What percentage of the loan are closing cost loan fees? What percentage of the loan are closing costs loan fees?
It depends, because you've got the 0.6% on the finance amount. So it depends. There's no. It depends on the finance amount. So just to cover it quickly again, you've got your evaluation, but obviously when you get in touch, we will put everything in an email for you. But it's the evaluation fee 239.20. Preparation for deed 129.15, the bank fee 319.80, and then 0.6% on the finance amount.
Do the mortgage rates change depending on whether variable to fixing up to 5 years?
Yeah, well, at the moment, the variable, is anything between 0.8 and 0.9. When you fix a property, fix a mortgage, obviously the duration, the interest rate will change. You're looking at about 1.1, 1.2%, I think.
Do your lenders look at US credit ratings of the borrower when qualifying for the loan?
Yes, it's part of the documentation that's required, which is the Experian credit report, Experian or Equifax.
If I earn 15,000 rental income per annum on my debt-free Algarve property, can this be added to my UK income for a Portugal mortgage calculation?
Yes, which of course it will help as long as it's the rental income is declared in Portugal. And if it is, you'll have your IRS in Portugal, and that will be one of the documents that are required. And it's looked at as an income.
As an income.
Just so I understand, is it total debt repayments, including potential mortgage payments, that must not be more than 35% of income?
Correct.
70-year-old, can I get a 25-year term with a 10-year balloon payment to meet the maximum 8-year-old lending age?
No, unfortunately not. It would be a term of 10 years.
Okay. Can you buy property through a foreign corporation, get a mortgage from a Portuguese bank, even if I guarantee the mortgage personally to the Portuguese bank, or does it have to be a Portuguese corporation?
It has to be a Portuguese corporation, but then that also takes us back to the guarantee mortgage. So if you get in touch with us privately, then we'll be able to look into it for you.
Okay, this one is, must one purchase a property through Ideal Homes in order to work with Ideal Homes mortgage brokers? No, but you should. Pass that one to you, Christina.
No, like Angela said, you should. But no, we will obviously still do exactly the same. We'll still get you the best interest rate possible, and we'll still do everything for you, and there's no fee involved.
What is this? Do you know what the stamp duty is?
On the finance amount, it's 0.6%, and on the purchase, it's 0.8%.
In US, often short-term rental income does not count towards income for mortgage loan qualification. Does short-term rental income count as income towards mortgage loans in Portugal?
Yes, as long as it's on the tax returns or the W-2.
What's the loan? Once the loan has been approved for 30 years fixed rate, how long do you have to close before that guaranteed rate expires?
Well, the mortgage approval is valid for 2 months. However, if imagine we do start the approval, we get the approval, and you're not ready to sign or to carry on. If the approval has expired, then it's not a problem. All we have to do then is get the updated documents and send it back to the bank, and they will reissue the approval. Sorry.
If I could pay 350 euros per month, how much could I borrow? You have to get in touch, yeah.
I'll need to get the calculator out for that one.
Yeah, it depends on your circumstances and everything, doesn't it? Like whether it's how many years and things like that. So best to get in touch with us and get a pre-approval and let you know how much you can actually borrow. I know prices are increasing, so if I buy and get a mortgage in 2021 and then I want to get my deposit back, how long do I need to wait to get a remortgage?
For equity release, it's 2 years. You have to wait 2 years to get equity release.
Also, is it possible to buy a property and get a mortgage using a UK company? Just, yeah.
Again, it has to be registered in Portugal.
Yeah, it needs to be Portuguese, yeah.
Portuguese
company. Registered, I presume, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there fees, points for the mortgage process beyond the property evaluation fee?
So the first fee that the bank charges the evaluation, which is a 239.20. Once we get that fee before the end, so from the deed date, on the deed date, all the rest of the bank fees will be taken off the account, which is the preparation for deed and the stamp duty, but that's on the date of the deed.
Okay. Can a primary residence be purchased from a USA trust fund without the maximum age restriction, but with the bank named as a guaranteed beneficiary upon trust closure?
It will always be for the term, so up to the age of 80. And I suppose it depends on the trust and what it is. But if you can get in touch privately again, then we'll be able to answer those questions for you.
If I own a property outright in Portugal, can I get a variable mortgage at the lower 0.8 to 0.9 rates to renovate the property if my income qualifies?
In that circumstances, you do have the construction finance. So you own the property and you want to fix it up. What we'll need then is exactly the same documents as a normal acquisition finance, but then they will ask you, as long as you don't want to move the structure or you don't want to, you know, close off a veranda or add another room. If that is the case, then you need the project approved by the state. If that's not the case and you just want to make it look pretty, we need a builder's quote, and the bank will finance 80% of the quote. And it is a little bit different in terms of evaluation. So to start off, they will send out an evaluator with your quote, go out to the property and just see that everything that you want to do, the floors and the windows and the doors, they release the funds in stages. So they will release, imagine the quote is 100,000, that's what you've applied for. They'll release 50,000 now, and then when you run out of that money or when you've used up that capital, then they send out an evaluator again just to make sure that the work has been done, and then release the next stage.
Can you make mortgage payments in excess of the monthly mortgage requirement? And if I pay off the mortgage in less time than the term of the loan, does the 0.5% penalty apply?
Yes, the 0.5% will apply if you want to pay it monthly, yearly. It will always apply. There's no way around it. We've tried.
So I think this one's practically the same. Can you pay your mortgage down early by making principal payment? If you can, what percentage? So that's the same. Okay. I'm adding to my question. It would be rental income we already get. Now rental income from a property we would be buying to rent. So that's from the previous question.
Yes, as long as it's on your Portuguese tax returns on your IRS. So if you purchase a property now that you're going to rent out, and then in 6 months' time you want to purchase another property, they won't take that into account right now because it's not on your tax returns. But then next year we'll look at another property, and then they'll take that rental income into account.
As a typical percentage, what are the costs to get a mortgage, and except for interest and principal, what are the carrying costs, if any, to keep the loan?
I think again that's the bank fees that are involved, which is the evaluation and the preparation for deed. I think we've covered that.
And someone's asking, what are the typical closing costs for a 20-year mortgage of 525? So obviously they would have banking costs, but the closing costs on the property would be roughly around 8%. That wouldn't cover the bank part, but it would cover all your legals and your stamp duty, any transfer tax, anything at all that you need to pay to actually purchase that property. Is it possible to get a mortgage for land to build in the near future?
Yeah. What banks do here is if you want to buy a piece of land and build at a later stage, they give you a mortgage of up to 60% for the land, and your building costs up to 80% on that.
Okay. Can you clearly explain the multiple of net income used by banks to determine the maximum loan? Example, what maximum loan a person would net 100,000 per annum income?
I think it's the same. I think we've covered that.
Yeah,
you just can't go over your 35% of your income.
You need to get in touch with us and have a pre-approval. Yeah, fill in all your details about what you earn and what you don't earn and whatever. And then someone will be able to talk to you about it one-on-one. If you get foreign income or have a foreign bank account with more than 10k in it, then you have foreign reporting in US. If you get foreign income or have a foreign bank account with more than 10k in it, then you have foreign reporting in US. I don't quite understand that one. Again, please do get in touch with us. There'll be people here this evening that'll be able to answer or find out the answer for you. How many years tax returns do you need? Is 1 year enough?
If you're self-employed, some banks ask for 2 years, some other banks ask for 3 years. But if you are employed, then 1 year is enough. we can do with 1 year.
Can you secure a 25 to 40-year mortgage based on rental income, even if you are 55 and retired?
Yes, as long as it's on your tax returns, as long as it's declared and on your tax returns.
And it's up to 80 years old. So if you're 55, you can get a 25-year mortgage.
Will banks accept stock portfolio as possible income?
To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure, but if you can get in touch, I'll find out for you.
Due to COVID, our planning application has been delayed. Will it be best to wait until the plans are approved before we apply for the mortgage? We understand the 2-month acceptance period can be renewed. Hang on, I've lost it. Can be renewed. How many months or times can we extend for? And will the financial detail need to be resubmitted at any extension, at each extension?
No, whenever you're ready, you just let us know. As I said, the approval is valid for 2 months. You can apply as many times as you like. It just means that we'll be sending it off to head office. That could obviously, you know, it's valid for 2 months. When you're ready, we update the documents and we send it off to the bank again. But there's no limit on the time.
Okay, if anybody's got any more questions, because we are going to end shortly, obviously you can get in touch with us and ask us more questions. You can get in touch with Cristina or Jose, send over your mortgage pack to them, and they'll sort out what you can borrow. And also we've got a team of guys downstairs that are waiting for you to find that property, and they'll help you do that so that you can get a nice property with a nice small mortgage. So we've just got a couple more questions, and then we're going to end for today. Does a lower term for the mortgage generally result in a lower interest rate?
The lower term?
So a lower term for a mortgage, does that generally result in a lower interest rate? So less years?
Not necessarily. The banks look at it all at the same. So if you get a lower term, doesn't mean that your interest rate is going to be extremely low. You understand?
Okay.
Well?
Yeah, thank you. I think with this one, you said the only way that foreign activity would be tracked is through bank transfers. That might be the case. However, there is a 10k per year penalty for not filing the FBSR report. So investors shouldn't know this. So I'm not quite sure about that. I think we need to, again, talk to you together.
Yeah, I thought
Hi.
I'd jump in here. Hi, everyone. My name's Chris. So I work for the company as well. So yeah, I mean, that's more a personal tax question than related to mortgages. But that would be a good one to reach out to the tax advisor and answer that one. But yeah, that's more a tax question. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in and really thank the team for everything they've done today. I mean, it's not easy doing mortgages like this, and this has been the biggest mortgage webinar we've ever done. So thank you, Angela. Thank you, Cristina. Thank you, Jose. I mean, to summarize, most of our clients, I would say we're receiving probably, it's increased massively. I mean, we're receiving probably 50 to 60 applications a month. The success rate at the moment is completely crazy. It's 100% success rate. Most clients are taking 80% finance and doing it very quickly, very efficiently. Myself personally, I mean, Cristina helped me arrange a mortgage on a property that I bought for 420. And because I'm a resident in Portugal, I borrowed 90% of that. I then spent some money fixing the house up, and she's just arranged an equity release of 300,000 extra 3 years later out the property that I don't need to spend any more on the villa. So I'm going to go out and use that for an extra investment and something that will cash flow that we can rent out. So yeah, so with the mortgages at the moment, the message to try and get across to you is there is a lot of demand, but there's a massive oversupply. So the banks are really fighting for the business. I saw Jose got a client approved. They were buying for over $1 million. I think it was 1.4 million.
1.4.
And they got a rate of 0.49%, which is better than my mortgage. So I'm a little bit jealous about that. But yeah, that's amazing to see mortgage rates as low as 0.49%, because they're fighting over the business. So, I mean, the deals that we've launched today, so the telemarketing team's downstairs, we've received over 200 inquiries for them. And that's the golf discount with a 15% discount. We've got the residences where I've brought myself in Lagos. And we've still got some units there left with the 5% discount and only the 5% deposit. So yeah, so there's some good deals to be had. So yeah, it makes a perfect time to buy. So, but yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to jump in there and thank the team and thank everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
And if anyone needs any help, I'm here now. So Tia can send you my US number because I'm over in the US at the moment, just organising the deal that's going to go live in beginning of April. But I'm free for the rest of the day, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And Tia can send you my US number.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
So yes, thank you for joining us all this evening. Well, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. I hope that you found it informative. And like I say, you can contact us at any time and we will help you all the way. I think we've just got one last question. Can you please explain again the possibility and process of a person, child age 40, purchasing a residential property on the behalf of a parent age 70 that will reside in the property? How and when can the child be removed from the loan?
They can't be removed from the loan, but we can add yourself on after the deed. The bank account, we can add you also onto the bank account. So the bank account will be in both names and on the deed will be on both names. Obviously then that is between yourselves. You can then transfer, I mean, if it's not for rental investments, or if you're going to use it for rental investment, that will surely cover the mortgage and more and some, so that will be in your bank account, will be deducted out of there, or you transfer the monthly payment into the account. They'll never be off the deed until the property is paid.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from you, and if you've got any questions, please reach out, let us know. We're here to help, and yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.
And at the moment, we've got all these deals with such good offers on. It is the time to be able to get something at a very low cost with a very low mortgage. So please do get in touch, and thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.